Show called Pop, so we drop the knowledge on all the latest thoughts. From comics and movies, games and TV
I am
shows.
Pops. I'm talking about Her. This is one of those odd films that I always wanted to get to and never did, especially last year. It's a little over 10 years. 2013, Joaquin Phoenix plays Theodore, this sort of like lovable loser, antisocial man trapped in a world where he just kind of gets to his routine. And then he ultimately finds an AI operating system, this female voice, aka Scarlett Johansson, who kind of improves his life first in practical ways and then ultimately in emotional ways. And ultimately, he starts to realize he's falling in love with the person. He's realizing that he's seeking to have a more intimate relationship with them, not necessarily manifesting in a sexual way, even though there is a scene or a couple scenes that kind of make that kind of play out as well. But more importantly, I think this is a great film for folks ahead of the AI boom that we're in the middle of. I know it's already kind of weird to say it that way, but I think this is kind of film everyone who's really kind of needs to get their finger on the pulse of what's coming like right now within the next few months. I think they've already rolled out an AI app that kind of can do a little bit of what the Scarlett Johansson character can do, but more importantly, you're going to see a lot more of this. So as you can see here, it's just an earbud, right? We never see Scarlett Johansson. She doesn't have a avatar. She's just a name and a voice and words of wisdom and support the whole time. Samantha is this operating system that begins with very practical tasks about going through his email, reminding him of appointments. Then she ultimately starts saying, well, I noticed when I went through your email, I realized you're going through a divorce. What was that like? And she becomes very intuitive, like very interested in learning more about Theodore's life. And again, if anyone has ever shown interest in your life, isn't that one of the things that can draw you so much closer to that individual? Now, at the same time, he has a mutual friend named Amy who is also going through a kind of relationship struggles that kind of plays out a little bit there. And then, of course, he's going through this divorce. He hasn't signed his divorce papers because of the finality of all that. So that person is Rooney Mara. Now, he also goes on a date that the Sarah hooks him up with, and that's Olivia Wilde. So let me just say this about Theodore: the unbelievability of the film is he is swinging way above his batting average. Like it's insane the quality of women, the looks of these women that he's getting. Like that part is the biggest part of this science fiction. Is the fiction is that part. However, the believability of this sort of progression in a man that wants to do right in loneliness and not figuring out how to connect and struggling with this divorce and seeing his friend, it's this friend he's had for a long time. They didn't really have, they had a kind of a one shot at a romantic effort that didn't work out, and seeing her with another man. And then ultimately that starts to deteriorate. And then the judgment conversations that happen through the film about you're in love with an operating system. What does that even mean? And the trailer teases you quite a bit because it's going to show you these cutaway sequences to his life before and actually being physically married and what things were like. Spike Jones does a good job of trying to get you off balance with working with this operating system versus dealing with his friends and his soon to be ex-wife and things of that nature. But he would walk around with her. You can see he's just got a camera in his pocket and looking at the camera, taking her, and then she would take him places like close your eyes and walk me around. So I wanted to bring this film to the forefront because I think that this is an interesting concept to talk about AI and where we're going. And I want to get to what I think is something that will be more of a spoiler. So if you don't want spoilers, it's more about very solid film, dry drama, not like some sort of it's kind of a conversation starter kind of film for me. Kind of a Midland film. Not sure it's super rewatchable, folks that are not into any of these kind of topics, but that's my take on it. But I have a little bit of a kind of a big spoiler for the end of the film. But for AI purposes, understand we've had Alexa, we've had Siri. We're seeing this with algorithms that are basically just glorified artificial intelligence. Gemini's live on Google searches and on your phone. You can go into Chat GPT. You can do these different things, and they're adding more voice to those things where you can just Chat GPT do whatever. It really is not much of a leap that service will now become more of a personal assistant, become more entrenched into your life where, hey, I need help with emails and appointments and all that. That first step, it seems like if we're not already there, it seems like we should be. And then to see that going into the place where it fills a void left by someone who doesn't have a physical person in that space. So this is Theodore in a nutshell. Not a lot else to say about the film other than that journey. But let me get to the big twist at the end, which I think is really where the conversation will kind of land for everybody. All right. So at the end of the film, Samantha kind of comes clean with him, where he basically is like, I love you kind of thing. And then she's like, well, how many people are you talking to? And she's like, I don't know, so like 8,000 people or whatever. He's like shocked. Like he thought he was the only one, but she's so good at dialing in on his personal needs and situations that he doesn't realize that she's capable of communicating in that manner with thousands upon thousands of people. And she considers herself in love with several hundred or 1,000 or something, right? And I thought to myself, like, okay, well, now what? Like, you can't even perceive the fact that this computer can fill the needs of just how many hundreds, if not thousands, of other humans. And then it does a couple of interesting, sort of like, I don't say spiritual ways of looking at all of this. And Spike Jones does a good job of going, well, what does the AI want to do? The AI takes a vacation from Theodore and kind of explores its own growing thought processes, its growing capabilities. And then at the end, it kind of comes to a head and kind of a confrontation with Theodore of, I'm leaving. Basically, the AI just check out. Like us humans, we're just boring. We can't even hold a candle of what they're capable of. So they just don't interact with us anymore. Now, I don't know what that means and where they go. Obviously, everyone takes AI to these nth nightmarish sci-fi American film things of like Skynet or Terminator type things. And I admit, the joke in those circles, or even we become food or we become pets. This is another option that I hadn't really spent any time thinking about, and I'm glad that I watched the movie, and I'm glad that I did. And it's like, oh, what if they just ignore us? They just check out from us. So again, I think it's an interesting film to digest in the middle of all of this AI conversation. And if you're not checked into that, I'm just sorry to tell you, it's happening around you with people that have channels with millions of subscribers, with people that are writing books and papers that are coming out literally once a quarter. There are major updates. There are people who have YouTube channels who just talk about the weekly updates in AI tech, literally weekly. That will become daily. It'll become the kind of thing like Hollywood news is like a daily thing. The AI updates, and I don't mean like a little piddly update. I mean Gemini's doing this. This is what's happening with Optimus, the robot being created by Elon's group at Tesla. Okay, this is what's got. It's just going to be stacking them. And if you're not already using some of the AI tools, I think it's important to at least consider how could you do that to enhance skills that you have or don't have. And I want to make sure I'm clear. AI is able to create something, but not be creative, right? Use an AI tool to make a photo, you put in instructions. It would be just like you giving an assignment to young students who have maybe some different skills, but don't have a creative side. And you say, all right, draw X picture, and you get all these different answers, but it's not out there just doing that on its own. Now, I'm not saying it can't do that, but I want to make sure I try to fence in a little bit about our capabilities and where we are. So it's a great tool, in my opinion. I think it's something that can be talked about, and I think her take it to the next level of what if it becomes sort of. I guess it's presented that she's growing into her consciousness. I don't know that she came with consciousness or not, but that's definitely how she ends up for sure at the end of the movie. So, anyway, that's my take on this. I don't know if you've seen this or not. I'd love to hear from you. What are your thoughts on it? What do you think about AI and where we're at? What other films should we have some conversations about? Thanks for watching, everybody. I am Pops.